Hey guys, it is what time is it? 6:30. Um on Tuesday this morning. Um my wife has strep. I was told to go get tested just in case for strep. So I'm gonna go this morning. Hopefully you'll never see this video because I'll be negative. But if I do have it, I'll have to miss today. And I will be back on Wednesday. So this is just kind of a quick review. There was a bunch of stuff that I wanted to talk about today that is just really good that we'll just push off till later because I don't want to try and do it in a video or anything like that. So if you are watching this video and I do have strep, um, what you guys are going to do is just read 18 and 19. And then we'll kind of on Thursday, we'll backtrack a little bit, talk about what we were going to talk about today, and catch up. So, just a quick review to make sure we're all kind of on the same page with 16 and 17, where we should be at this point. Um, Odysseus and Telemachus are finally reunited, right? So, it's kind of that funny scene where Odysseus walks out as an old man. Athena transforms him. He comes back, and he's like, "I'm your dad." Um, and they start making this plan together, right? And the plan really has like kind of three steps. You don't need to write this down. I'm just doing it so you can actually see it. Uh, Odysseus tells Telemachus he's going to need to hide the weapons, um, except for two, right? So kind of setting up this slaughter that is pending. Um, and then he tells Telemachus like, "Hey, when the suitors say why are you hiding the weapons, because that's not a normal thing to do, tell them that it was for smoke damage, right? That it was by a fire. He was afraid that they would get smoke damage. Uh, and he also says he was afraid that they would use them when they were drunk and hurt each other. And so he's hiding them for their own good. Um, so hide the weapons for two. And then he also tells Telemachus, don't say anything when I'm being abused. Right? So he's like, the suitors obviously are going to treat me like trash because they're bad people and I'm this nasty beggar. When you see me being pushed around and kicked and just treated horribly, keep your mouth shut. Which, if you think about it, after not seeing your dad for 20 years and then seeing him and then having to watch him be, kind of abused by 108 guys and not say anything, pretty tough call. But he doesn't want the plan to be exposed. He doesn't want his identity to be exposed before he's ready. So they make this plan. Odysseus then leaves Eumaeus' house, still disguised as a beggar, and he walks to the palace. That's where he encounters the goat herd, whose name is Melanthius. Do you know that name? Um, he'll come back into play. And if the swineherd, Eumaeus, is like the good servant, Melanthius is another one of the evil ones, right? He sees him, he kicks him just because, calls him trash. And Odysseus just kind of like doesn't do anything, right? It just says he like grits his teeth, polyatlas, endures it. But obviously he's planning um, because this servant just kicked his king without knowing it, and we'll talk about that on Thursday. Um, the super sad scene when Argos he gets there and his dog makes me so sad. Made me go like pet Odysseus, my dog Odysseus, not this Odysseus. Um, Argos like wags his tail because he's been waiting for 20 years. Uh, Someone was like, "How's it a 20-year-old dog?" I don't know. Just go with it. Um, and Odysseus like can't go to the dog because that would expose him. And so the dog like drops his ears back and wags his tail and then dies. And it's just like, oh, because he finally saw his master. He could give up his spirit. Um, so then Odysseus goes inside and he begins testing the suitors. And the way he does that is asking for food. Right. So he's going around to every suitor asking for food to see which of them would actually take him in. There's that weird scene or that weird line where Athena's like, she wasn't going to allow any of them to live anyway. And so it's kind of like, well, why is he testing them? I'm not totally sure, but he has his ways, and so he's going around, I guess maybe to justify what he's about to do. But he's going to go around and ask for food from every suitor, test them to see if they would take him in any regard, or whether they would, treat him like trash. Um, oh man, it's just so good because it's like the way you treat the beggar is the way you treat the master, which is a very biblical thing, and we'll talk about that. Um, okay, so y'all flip to book 18. Let me give you guys kind of the rundown for that. And then I'll also give you 19 since you'll probably, if I'm not there, you'll have time to do both. So, key parts to book 18. Uh, Odysseus is going to get in a fight with another beggar named Iris. So, this beggar is going to show up, going to be like, hey, this is my turf. This is where I beg for food. And Odysseus and he are going to have this fist fight. It's kind of sad because the suitors, see like two homeless people and they're like, hey, this is free entertainment. Let's make them fight for food, which is like the lowest of the low in my mind. But Odysseus gets in this fight with Iris. We'll see what happens there. Um, Odysseus then warns one of the suitors. Right, so he's gonna actually tell one of the suitors, so in disguise, he's gonna be like, "Hey, you seem to be one of the better ones. I just want to let you know that Odysseus is coming back. Uh, you should probably get out of here." Right? Obviously, it's him, but so he actually gives this one suitor kind of a last chance, saying, "I'm pretty positive Odysseus is about to set things in order. You should probably leave." Then Penelope comes down, or steps out into the hall, and she asks for gifts. Right, so she's kind of a player. She is like, "Hey, I'm a beautiful woman. All these guys want to marry me," and she's like, "If you want to marry me so much, how about you give me things?" It's kind of like going out on dates with a guy to get free dinner, right? Like she's playing the game a little bit, and Odysseus is watching this, being like, "Sweet, more stuff," and he just loves it because he's tricky. So seeing his wife be tricky, he's just like, "This is awesome." But he hasn't revealed himself yet, so just remember that. So she asks for gifts, and then Odysseus. I will not type. There we go. Odysseus. Odysseus. I don't know what's going on, so I'll just talk. Um, Odysseus is going to send off the slave girls. And so he's trying to get Penelope alone. He wants time to just talk to her. And so he's going to tell the slave girls, he's still a beggar, right? But he's going to tell them, like, hey, you guys go upstairs. I'll take care of things up here, or down here in the hall. But really, his whole purpose for doing this is so that he can get one on one time with Penelope. Sorry, I just got to plug in. Right, so he's going to tell the slave girls, I'll take care of things. You guys go to bed. And one of them kind of claps back and he's like, no, get out of here. And he like threatens them as the beggar. And they're like, okay, we'll leave. So now he has the chance to kind of be one on one with Penelope. And then we're going to get to book 19. Y'all flip there, just flip the page. Um, what I really want y'all annotating for on book 19 is this one question. Does Penelope know it's him? Right, book 19 is the reunion chapter. It's when Odysseus and Penelope are going to speak. He doesn't actually reveal himself yet, but they'll have this one-on-one conversation. And what I want y'all looking for is whether she actually knows it's him. I think she might. I think there's evidence that she does. There's also evidence she doesn't. right? And so I want y'all annotating for that. When we talk on Thursday, I'm gonna be like, hey, what are some lines? What are some things she says? What are some ways she says things that may make it seem like she does know it's him, uh, or maybe not, right? So I want you guys to be able to kind of defend your stance on whether she's actually aware that this beggar is Odysseus in disguise, or whether she just thinks it's a beggar. So look for lines that you could use kind of to defend your stance on that. Then Odysseus and Telemachus hide the weapons, right? So the plan's in motion. Um, and then Odysseus and Penelope talk. And this is where you kind of see that. Does she know? Is she onto him? Or, is she completely in the dark? And then lastly, Odysseus is revealed not to Penelope, but to Euryclea. Remember, that's the nurse, the one that was, we met her in the first chapters with Telemachus. Um, we're going to see that how Odysseus, disguised as a beggar, is revealed to Euryclea. Um, so really, at this point, the only people who know it was him, know the beggar is him, is Telemachus and Euryclea after this, and Argos, but he's dead. And then lastly, Penelope planned the contest. Right, so this famous scene where she's like, "All right, here's this contest we're gonna do. The winner gets to marry me." Which again, I don't know why she would do that if she didn't think Odysseus was there to win it. But yeah, we'll talk about that later. All right, so happy reading. Crank it out. Hopefully, you'll never see this video. And Godspeed.